Yo, what is going on? PartTimerZack here. In today's video, we're going to be checking out Karenina. I wanted to kind of go over her skill set and essentially go over why I think she's really good, especially if you're already using somebody like Alpha, why they're kind of a good pair together and why they go quite well together. So talking about her skill set essentially is going to be 80% physical and 20% fire. She's going to flirt with that fire a little bit as we jump into her skill set, and you'll see why she's really good kind of paired up with somebody like Alpha here in a couple seconds. So talking about her skill here, it's going to be Red Orb. Fire 6 projectiles forward, each dealing a certain percentage of physical damage based on the number of orbs pinged. So each one of these are, 1, 2, and 3 is going to give you a little bit more physical damage. It is also based on the number of skill, or essentially your total level anyway, for your skill here as well. So talking about her Yellow Orb, quickly fires a projectile at the target, dealing a certain percentage of physical damage based again on those number of orbs pinged. Puts a mark on the target. Marked targets have a 75% chance of exploding and taking a certain percentage of fire damage when hit by you. So this is where it flirts a little bit with that fire damage. Again, these are also going to be a certain percentage based on the number of orbs that you ping as well, corresponding with that physical damage. Now going into her Blue Orb, this is going to be kind of the bread and butter, especially if you're using her with somebody like Alpha or anybody really that is kind of a main kind of focused DPS. So fires a special projectile at the ground that continues to pull enemies in an area, deals a certain percentage of physical damage based on the number of orbs pinged again, and then deals a certain percentage of physical damage per second to enemies in the area for 1, 2, and 3 seconds, again based on the number of orbs pinged. So this is going to be something that helps out quite a bit of just pulling all those enemies together. And for example, with Alpha, it helps out with signature skill, red and yellow orbs, being able to kind of bunch everybody up and then be able to just attack everybody really does help out when you pair her with Alpha. Now talking about her active skill, it's going to be her basic attack, launches consecutive attacks with a cannon, dealing a certain percentage of physical damage in total. Again, she's going to be mainly physical and flirting a little bit with that fire, as you can see from her yellow. Now talking about her signature here, it's going to be cost 100 energy, continuously bombards a target. Each projectile deals a certain percentage of physical damage. Now this is something where if you are playing her by herself, you can definitely combo this with something like her Blue Orb. So her Blue Orb is going to help out quite a bit of just gathering everybody, like I said, but you're able to use a signature to kind of just do that bombardment and have everybody kind of in that spot, so you can do a total massive damage to a lot of different enemies. Now talking about some different things about her QTE, Karenina fires a spinning projectile that deals a certain percentage of physical damage up to this one right here. Again, this is going to be kind of contingent on you level and the kind of level that you put into each one of these. And then attacker, you also get this extra damage bonus increased by 10%. And then if you awaken her, you gain 3 signal orbs when entering battle. Now, keep it in mind here about the Blue Orb and her signature here. If you go into her passive, so talking about her core passive, she enters burst mode after 3 times of any 3 ping or using a signature move. For the next 3 seconds, your basic attacks will become cannon shots that deal a certain percentage of physical damage per shot. So pretty much her bread and butter, if you're not using her with somebody like Alpha, you're going to be going for the blue ping signature move and then going into her core passive, which is going to help out quite a bit with just a massive amount of damage, keeping everybody in the center line there, so you're able to kind of target everybody. There is a weird kind of wonky thing that happens with their core passive, that whenever you go into like the first person mode, essentially whenever somebody dashes past you, especially happens in like Pain Cage, it kind of gets a little bit wonky, right? You kind of see that if somebody dashes past you, it's trying to catch up with it, and it just kind of messes around a little bit. Now I don't have that problem a lot, but it is something to kind of keep in mind whenever you're going into her. There is a little bit of a wonkiness to it whenever it comes to like the auto lock on, essentially. So going into her leader, if you are running her as your leader, attack of all party members are increased by 10% when they're of 3 different classes. So essentially if you have like a live as support, a main DPS, and a tank, this is going to help out quite a bit if you're using her as a leader, and just giving you a little bit of an idea there. So talking about her memories real quick, I am running kind of the dumbed down version of her memory kit essentially. So I'm going to go into the wiki real quick because it does do a nice outline. So if you want to run her as like your main DPS and you want her to do just a massive amount of damage, you can run her with 4 patents and 2 Darwins. Darwins are going to be there all the time. It seems like a lot of people run these more than not. And then the other side of it, if you are running Warzone or Babel, you're going to look at the Hannahs here and the Darwins as well. So if you want to run kind of like a basic kit though, if you're using her as like a second DPS like I am, I would recommend not really investing too much on the Hannahs and stuff like that, because you kind of want to wait for those. Or if you're not even have them at this point, you can run Alfies, which is kind of like the lower version of that. It's the 5-star version of Hannah essentially. So you enter a matrix upon a 3 ping, 60-second cooldown. If you want to compare that to somebody like Hannah, for example, you can see that Hannah for 4 pieces enters matrix mode upon a 3 ping and gains a random signal orb, 30-second cooldown. So obviously you're getting a little bit more bang for your buck, and you're also having a reduced cooldown if you are using Hannah. But if you don't have her, it's not like the end of the world. Essentially, I am also using Ike, which essentially is going to give me a 2 set here of all damage increased by 2%. Elemental damage increases by 4% because again, she flirts with that fire a little bit. So it does help out a little bit. Just to give you an idea though, in case you don't know what Darwin does or Patton, we're going to go real quickly, just kind of go over these guys. So if you're running Darwin as a 2 set, which is really recommended for a lot of different kits, for every orb pinged. All damage increased by 3% for 4 seconds, and it can be stacked up to 5 times. You can see how that can help out quite a bit when you're doing damage. Again, if you are running Karenina as kind of a side damage, it's not really that prominent that she does a massive amount of damage, because you are going to be swapping off on her every once in a while. I haven't really found myself swapping off on her too many times unless I'm trying to give Alpha a break to essentially recover. Maybe I've used too many dashes, or I'm just trying to kind of help out quite a bit with doing a little bit more damage with my Karenina without taking that health from my Alpha. Now, Patton here, a lot of you guys probably already know what she does because a lot of you guys have been farming her for a very long time. So each time you deal physical damage, if it's not a critical hit, essentially the crit hit of the next physical damage increases by 2%, stacking up to a maximum of 20%. This effect is reset when you deal a crit hit. So crit hit increases physical damage by 5% for 3 seconds, and it can be stacked up to 3 times. So again, if you're running Karenina as kind of like your main DPS, it is going to help out quite a bit because she is primarily physical, as that 80% does dictate and helps you out quite a bit. Now, talking about her weapons here, I have been kind of grinding on this one. I do need to get her 5-star. I'm running on a 4-star there, but her 5-star right here is actually going to be quite well. I don't really recommend too much of her signature weapon, but we'll talk about it anyway. This is going to be her 5-star. This is going to be 372 damage, 201 crit, and then damage is increased by 12% after consuming 3 orbs at once for 4 seconds. So her kit really does help out quite a bit with the 3 orbs. You need it for it to go into her passive, and she just helps out quite a bit with the blue and stuff like that. So you are going to be doing 3 pings a lot. So it does help out to have her 5-star anyway. Now, talking about her 6-star, if you really want to go ham with her and you want her to be the best of the best, essentially you're going to look for Berserk Fusion. This is going to be 458 damage and 249 crit. The damage is going to be kind of massive in comparison to that 5-star, but the crit isn't going to be too high up when it comes to the comparison anyway. Now, her skills increase physical damage by 10% after consuming 3 orbs at once. Basic attack damage is increased by 30%. So again, kind of flirting with that idea of 3 orbs, and her kit is essentially kind of built around the 3 orbs. So it can kind of make sense why you would do that, especially if you're using something like Hannah to enter that matrix mode more and more. It is going to help out quite a bit overall. So my idea of her is she's a really good character, definitely going to be something to use for Alpha if you are using her as kind of like a main DPS. She's also quite well, and she can be used with somebody like B-Liv, for example, or like A-Cam if you're looking for a tank as well to jump into that kind of aspect. I would really use her with somebody like Alpha because she's able to do that pulling thing, which helps out quite a bit with Alpha's kit in general. But that is my overall premise. I think she's a really good find. If you do have her, definitely put some resources into her because she's going to help out quite a bit with Tower of Babel and giving you a little bit more diversity with a lot of your teams. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and catch you there. I will see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Peace.